Genshin Impact 5.0 Natlan is here, and in my opinion, it is truly the greatest update that Genshin has ever delivered. And although there are still definitely areas where Genshin can be improved, we'll talk about why this whole content package makes this the greatest Genshin update ever. Welcome to Jello Impact, where we build and test every single character to help you decide who you want to wish for and build. Starting off with a spoiler-free review of the story. The footage shown is from the Genshin Impact livestream, so none of the actual story is going to be spoiled. Now, while I do think that there have been peaks of Genshin's story that were better even than the Natlan Archon Quest, such as the finale for the Fontaine Archon Quest, the finale for the Sumeru Archon Quest, for a first act, the first two acts of the Archon Quest, the Natlan one was by far the best. We're finally getting into themes and ideas and plot points that I've been waiting to happen from basically the very first quest in Genshin. Stuff with the Abyss, we're getting lore drops left, right, and center. I think it's also paced very well. It is still definitely a JRPG style, so there's still lots of dialogue, but I found that the pacing is very, very good. There weren't too many downtimes or times where I felt like things really dragged. I thought the characterization of each of the characters, Mualani, Keqing, and even Keqing, as well as the other characters that were featured in the Archon Quest, such as Mavuika, Chaska, I felt like the quest really gave each of these characters room to breathe. I felt like I really understood who they were and their motivations. I pretty much have no bad things to say about the Archon Quest at all. I think that it was the perfect introduction, and I can't wait to see where they go with it from here. So overall, I would give the Archon Quest a 9 out of 10, and I think that it very might well become a 10 out of 10 once we actually get to the later parts of the Archon Quest, where we actually finish things off, because right now, obviously, it's set up, and the payoff is not here yet, so I'm not going to give it full marks. For the World Quest, I really loved it. I'm not going to spoil anything about it, but I thought that this World Quest really excelled far and above away other World Quests in that it didn't take as long. There wasn't a ton of meaningless tasks and a bunch of random things to do that didn't feel connected. The stuff that you had to do actually felt involved in the story, and there was unique gameplay with the overworld traversal pets and things like that I thought really added to the world quest, and I thought it was really overall very cool. I think not being voiced always hurts the world quest a little bit, so I think the max I can give it is 8.5 out of 10, but it's a bit unreasonable to ask them to voice all the world quests. If we were comparing this to other world quests, I might even rate it higher, but as a standalone gameplay beat, I think 8 out of 10 is a great score and a correct score. If you're new to Genshin Impact and you want to try the game out for yourself, or if you've been taking a break, now is the perfect time to return. As I've been saying, the new update is awesome. The new characters, Mualani, Keqing, are extremely fun. Keqing coming in the second half, also extremely fun. Kazuha, an absolute fan favorite, and Raiden are also here for 5.0. There's tons of wishes available, and there's a free standard banner 5-star selector, so now really is the perfect time to try out or come back to Genshin. I still haven't picked my standard 5-star. I'm not sure who I want to get. I'm thinking maybe Mona C1. I have a video on who to pick, by the way. I'll link it at the end. The Natlan Archon Quest will also be available right after completing the Leeway Archon Quest, so you can skip 3 regions of Archon Quest and play it right away. And these first 2 acts do not spoil the other Archon Quests at all, so you can safely play it and do the new thing that everyone's talking about and enjoy it without rushing through any of the previous stuff, and you can go back to that when you're ready. Genshin Impact has also just launched on Xbox, which is awesome. I'll link Genshin down below so you can download it for yourself. It's crazy that this entire game with all of this crazy maps is available absolutely for free. I love this game. This is my favorite game. So even though this video is sponsored by Genshin Impact, this is my favorite game. These are all my true thoughts and my true review for the game. The third story I wanted to review is Mualani's story quest. I thought it was very long, but very good. I feel like both the World Quest and the Archon Quests were very well paced, but the Mualani one was just a bit slow. Even still, I really liked the story beats. I really liked the honest character interactions, and it felt very authentic and very nice, so I really liked it as well. I would give the story quest a 7.5 out of 10, for the overall story section getting 8.5 out of 10. Visuals and audio. Hoyoverse has once again outdone themselves. Natlan looks the best out of any region. The variety in landscapes between the volcanoes, between the jungles and the water areas, the amazing and unique looking trees and animals. The animations for the characters look amazing. The cutscenes are better than ever. Visually, this game is just absolutely stunning. I couldn't give it anything but, well, I mean, maybe, I don't know. You could be super nitpicky, but I really think it deserves a 10 out of 10. I don't think that there's any game in this genre that looks as good as Genshin Impact, any other anime style games that look as good as this. Music, I think, also gets a 10 out of 10. It is absolutely jaw-dropping. The cultural references and cultural music is just fantastic, and I definitely hope that future updates for Genshin represent their culture as well. For gameplay, I think that the puzzles, the exploration with the Saurians, the animals, or also using your characters like Mualani or Keqing, I think that the gameplay and the puzzles are probably the most novel and the most fun and engaging we've had in a long time. I think they've once again outdone themselves. I think that some people, you know, weren't a fan of the underwater exploration. I think that Natlan will please pretty much everyone. I think that if you enjoy exploration even a little bit, I think you'll love exploring Natlan. One of my favorite things is that they've added these bosses that are way higher level and way harder than other bosses that we've had, or any other overworld content we've ever had, are arguably harder than the Spiral Abyss even, to be honest. Like, these three guys are level 103 and they just do a ton of damage. They're actually just a challenge to fight. I had to craft multiple different teams to try and figure out how to beat them without using any revives, because I didn't want to use revives. I just wanted to beat them without using food and stuff, and they were a real challenge. And there's other characters in this game that are also a real challenge. They aren't the only bosses like that, and they're scattered all around the Natlan map. And I love that Genshin has introduced more powerful enemies into the overworld. It's super, super cool. I think the only thing I would love to see is some sort of rewards attached to these, some sort of bragging rights, like maybe an endgame mode where you can team up with your friends to fight them and like fight waves of them or something. I'm not sure, but another sort of endgame mode that features these really hard overworld bosses and fighting them in the overworld. Maybe you go from different parts of the map to different parts of the map to fight them. I'm not exactly sure what they want to do, but I really feel like that there are the bones for something really, really cool with these new overworld fights. And I think they added, I don't know, like 5 or 6 or more. And so I definitely think that they'll continue to add them, and I hope that they continue to expand the features of them as well. Imaginarium Theater also got some improvements. They added a whole new level with Natlan, the Visionary mode, where the enemies actually go up to level 100, and it's extremely difficult, especially if you don't use the buffs. Obviously, if you don't have super well-built characters, you can lean into the trial characters and your friends invite characters and the buffs that they give you that are very, very powerful and that really change the way that you play. But if you just want a challenge, you can go through and not really take those extra buffs, and it ends up being extremely challenging. So it's basically perfect for everyone, unless you don't have a ton of characters, in which case, you know, might take you a while to get there, but once you do, it's very, very enjoyable. So huge fan of Imaginarium Theater, especially now with its changes. The Spiral Abyss also got some updates. In the future, you won't have to fight floors 9 and 10 if you've already cleared at 11 and 12, which is great. They've been slowly adding other quality of life features to the Spiral Abyss. This isn't new to Natlan, but you can now check your stats from the Spiral Abyss, which is super nice. I've always liked the Spiral Abyss as a gameplay mode, but now there's more than just the Spiral Abyss for challenging content. There's this, there's the Imaginarium Theater, and there's the overworld bosses. So if we can get those overworld bosses turning into an actual mode, Genshin really might actually have like great endgame, which is something that not a lot of people have ever said about Genshin Impact. So I think that the state it's in is actually very good right now, and it has the bones for something amazing. This is also, of course, on top of just having World Level 9. World Level 9 improves the drop rates for all enemies and includes overworld bosses. They originally only talked about the boss drops, and I don't know if this is confirmed. I feel like I've been getting more of the gemstone chunks as well, so I feel like they may have upped the drops for these, but I'm not sure. Either way, the bosses aren't quite as squishy. They're a little bit stronger. They're still not Abyss level, but they're a fair bit tankier, and overall, it's just really nice to get much better drops from the overworld. For the overall gameplay of Genshin Impact in the 5.0 state, I would give it an 8.5 out of 10. I still think that they could do a bit more with co-op especially, and with overworld type endgame content, but everything else is basically top-notch in my opinion. So 8.5, maybe even 9 out of 10, I think is the score I would give. A bit of rapid fire for quality of life stuff. The fate point system is way better. Only 1 fate point instead of 2. Massive change. The weapon banner is actually worth wishing on, potentially for even free to plays now, which is huge. They upgraded the reputation system, which I'm not exactly sure how it works currently, so I'm not going to go through that right now, but the last one did get sort of long in the tooth, sort of annoying, so I definitely like how the new one respects your time a bit more and doesn't make you do the same thing over and over week after week. The new material finder is really good. It shows you the areas on the region that you need to go to collect them, so you don't actually have to use the interactive map. Very nice. There's a new artifact feature, the artifact transmuter, which can craft your own perfect artifact. I'll be including a full guide on that in my ultimate Natlan artifact guide coming soon, but very awesome feature. Get yourself a double crit goblet or circlet on the set that you want. Really, really huge. The new battle pass feature where you can select artifact XP over weapon XP. I think weapon XP is the best one to not select because you can always craft it for free and mine for it and stuff, and we're always short on artifact XP, so this is absolutely huge in my opinion. And you can also finally choose any talent book. Absolutely massive change. If you're a new player and you want to explore Natlan first and you don't have full stamina yet, you can get stamina from the Natlan statues or from the Sumeru statues or wherever. You don't have to do the Liyue and Mondstadt statues only. That's really nice. I think the only quality of life that we're now missing is a proper artifact loadout. So for characters that have multiple artifact sets that you might want to switch back and forth, like I would love to be able to switch between the new set, Archaic Petra, and the Tenacity of the Millith artifact set on my Zhongli. That'd be a really nice quality of life. Hopefully they can allow us to quick switch like this. We sort of have the makings of it with the fast equip. Hopefully they can complete the loop. And then the only other feature that I can think of, at least right now, is some sort of pity system for getting the 4-star you want, because it's still very hard to get 4 stars. So I'd like a fate points towards 4 stars, or maybe if they could put other 4 stars in the shop other than just the launch 4 stars. So if we could get Chevreuse in the shop, or if we could have a fate point system towards our desired 4-star. Same with the weapon, same with the 4 stars on the weapon banner. When it's very annoying to have no pity for those, especially when you need a high constellation or high refinement weapon. Adding a fate point system or putting them in the shop would be, for quality of life, despite these two missing features, I would still give it a 9 out of 10. Maybe that's just because we got so many improvements recently. Maybe I can't think of the other points that really need to be improved. Let me know in the comments if there's other stuff that you want to see improved. Leave a review for Genshin Impact for the things that you see positive and the things you want to see improved. But I think that the quality of life is in a great spot right now. To give a quick review on the characters, I really like Mualani's gameplay. She does have a couple janky things that happen when you take her into the Abyss, but in the overworld, it's really not a big deal at all. And I think in the future, with more character synergies coming out throughout Natlan, I think she'll be even more fun to play. But in her current state, she is already excellent. She's super satisfying to play. She is extremely strong, both in the Abyss and in the overworld. She's pretty much a must pull for the overworld, just for her exploration, if you're really into having quality of life for your exploration. If you want to see a full review, I already have a full review of Mualani on my channel, where I tested her with 42 different teams. I'll try link it at the end. Mualani also, in my opinion, is peak design. I don't think we've had any Hawaiian style characters, and just her overall visual appeal and animations is just peak to me. So overall, I would give Mualani a 9 out of 10, even though she does have some janky things. I still really like how she turned out, and I expect her to get even more team options with potentially the Pyro Archon in the future. So I give her a 9 out of 10. Keqing, on the other hand, a little bit more boring, still opens up some very cool team comps, still very strong with the use of the new artifact set, but I do see her getting power creep pretty quickly in the future with Xilonen coming out a Geo 5-star next patch. But who knows? I really like Kachina's synergy with Chiori teams. The double Geo is very interesting and very cool. You can do a double Geo crystallize to actually have some defensive, a bit of a defensive core with just crystallize, which is super interesting. She does reasonable damage once she's at C6 as well. Overall, I like Keqing. I think she's a little bit boring, but along with her overworld potential and everything like that, I'd still give her a 7.5, especially as she's a free 4-star that has use at a low level. So I'd still give her a 7.5. And overall, the Natlan characters get an 8.5, maybe even a 9 out of 10 for me, just because their overworld use is still so good, and Keqing is still so good even at C0, even at a low level. Everyone can find a use for her because of how well she uses the new artifact set. So given the fact she's free, I'm very happy with the character offerings of 5.0. So my overall review for Genshin Impact Natlan, I would give it a 9 out of 10. overall. There are definitely some certain areas that they can improve. Everything can be improved. Nothing is perfect, but I really think that the state that Genshin Impact is in right now is the best that it's ever been, and it seems to be trending in a hugely positive direction. I can't wait to see all the new characters, all the new stories, all the new areas, all the new enemies. And if you haven't tried it yet, or you've thought about getting back into it, I really think this is the perfect time. Reminder that you can pre-register for the Xbox launch down below. Thanks again to Genshin Impact for sponsoring this video. Subscribe if you're looking forward to that ultimate artifact guide. Take care. Bye for now.